Okay, folks, looks like we're ready to go. This is the third in the series of what I call the Holy Trinity of Get Her Done. Get Her Done, Skater. So first of all, we looked at the much longer version. How many pages was that? 1,400 pages. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1,400 pages, right. So well over 1,000 pages, 11, 12, 13, 1,400 pages, the Law of Success in 16 Lessons. Right, Napoleon Hill. Then we looked at James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. So those two texts I should say, they've been around for some time, both 100 plus years old. Okay, so good ideas never fade; they just reappear again and again in different forms, right? So here we have the international bestseller by Ching-Ning Chu. She is no longer with us. She was a successful businesswoman from Taiwan. She came here from Taiwan to the United States, to Los Angeles, where I live, and she began her business here. Her parents came. Of course, she came with her parents. And it was this book, only this book, not this book, but Thick Black Theory, which this book is based on. And it's a Chinese concept that has been around 100 years or so, ancient Chinese secret. And also the other book that she brought was Sun Tzu, Art of War. I'm not going to go through that one. That's a good one to read. I've read it, but it's not really a part of this threefold or three-pronged attack that I use for myself and others in attempting to get things done. And one of the first things she mentions about this book is that it's not really a learning, but a revealing. So most of what's in the book is already in us. And you might say, poo-poo to that, sure, whatever. But when I read it, I recognized about 90% of what was written in here. And what was great about it was basically putting words and terms and labels and a picture to that which I knew, which was rather vague and nebulous. You're not sure of these words, look them up, expand your vocabulary. Nebulous, right? Just kind of a vague feeling that I had certain philosophies that I had learned along the way since I began my path in my mid to late 20s or so is when I really began this path in earnest, right? So I've had students, clients, and others speak to me about the fact that, I'm in shock. I'm reading this book, and it's amazing that a lot of this stuff I already know, or I realize I know. It's in my subconscious maybe, and this seems to be just pulling it out, putting it to words, making it more visual and evident, more concrete by reading the explanations, the terms and terminology and patterns and so forth, right? So she's got, there's about 16 chapters. I am not going to go through like Law of Success. I'm not going to go through all 16. I'll probably hit, I don't know, because some of these are kind of out of the wheelhouse of what I want to get into, such as money, winning through negative thinking. No, not that one, sorry. Deception Without Deceit, and Mystery of Money. I might touch on those chapters, and then there's some that I'm not very fond of. I don't think they're very well laid out or written or structured. One is on leadership, chapter 13. She didn't really write that chapter. She's just quoting a bunch of statements by military experts, officers in the military, in Chinese military, right? And then the last three are really how you go about applying this concept of thick-faced black heart. Maybe I'll touch on a little bit of that, but I'm not going to spend copious, another word to look up, copious amounts of time going over this as well. I've got other things I've got to do, right? After I'm done with this, I'm pretty much done with the big stuff. I keep threatening to put together these 3 books and put them into like a Prezi display to kind of, I think I will do that, to tie them all together, to give you an overarching view of what they are and how they interrelate, kind of summarize from the overarching view of all 3 of these great, insightful, productive, if you follow them, productive elements of motivation, achievement, and so forth, right? Okay. There's also an introduction here. Talks about her coming from Taiwan. As you can see here, she was 22 when she left. And so there's the Sun Tzu's Art of War, right? Thick Black Theory that she brought with her as well. Li Zong Chang, Thick Black Theory. But I'm not going to get into all that. She talks about how old it was, why she brought the books, why she wrote this book and didn't just pass on Lee's work to Westerners, because she said that Westerners would probably not understand the book in its form, its current form, as far as that which the Chinese were reading. So she put it into a more Western philosophy. She's steeped in the Eastern traditions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, and she became Christian. So she's got all the philosophies and theologies, or the major religion, philosophy, theologies going for her. And you'll see that she does reference religion on occasion. If you're not a religious person, don't worry about it. If you read about religion in here, it's not going to convert you. You're not going to be all of a sudden saying prayers and attending a church or something. Just, I read it and it made me a Christian. You know, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Just don't worry about it, right? All you atheists out there, all you haters, you haters. Just read it for its content. I didn't read this from a perspective of any religious doctrine or dogma. I just read it as helpful stuff. Very insightful, very enlightening, enlivening, right? Here's Lao Tzu, Tzu Te Ching. Give up virtue, renounce wisdom. There's a lot of this going on in this book, right? People will benefit 1,000 times. Give up virtue and renounce wisdom. What? You mean I should just sleep around and cuss a lot and be evil and dirty, you know, and be dumb? Pretend I'm watching endless reality shows and I have no brains left whatsoever. Give up kindness, renounce morality. People will embrace love. And, excuse me. Give up kindness, renounce morality. People will embrace love and filial piety, right? Give up cleverness, renounce greed. Bandits and thieves will vanish. So I don't know the particulars of that philosophy, but this is kind of reminiscent of basic Eastern philosophy, theology, I should say, philosophy, theology, same thing, similar. Especially the Zen Buddhists, they're all about opposites, you know, about posing conundrums to the listener, to the reader, to the seeker, to the voyager, right? The voyager. And it's really looking to break down conventionality. Well, if you think wisdom and virtue is so great, or morality, you know, people preach morality and kindness, cleverness, you know, and all that stuff, right? We'll just do away with it. Why? Well, you're doing away with conventionality, right? And the seekers of eternal wisdom, not necessarily religion or religious or God or dogma or doctrine, right? But you're seeking spiritual wisdom, I guess you could say, right? Thinking that what we live, if you live in the United States, at least, if you live in a Western country, your life expectancy is about 80 something, right? Which is nothing. I mean, you could live to be 100, 200, 1,000. Makes no difference, right? 100, 500, 1,000, live to 10,000. Who cares? Because once you're dead for eternity, right? Ever and ever and ever a day. Endless amounts of time. Billions, trillions, zillions of years, endless years, right? So who cares? Live to 50,000, live to 100,000, live to 1,000,000. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because it's all going to end at some time. Of course, you're not going to live that long, right? But anyway, so the spiritual seeker is usually looking above the horizon. Down here on this earth, this planet, we've got all these people that are into this money and power and prestige and political aligning. And so, all the stuff that's going on now in the Republican and Democrat going on now, it's always been going on, maybe harder and more so now than in previous years. But anyways, all of that stuff, money, power, prestige, political positioning, and so forth and so on. That's all temporary. It doesn't mean anything. Think of all the nations that have come and gone, all the kings and queens that have conquered and come and gone, all the empires that have come and gone. Doesn't matter. They're all gone. They're all dead, right? All the conquering, unconquered, eventually unconquered. If it's the Ottoman Empire, if it's the Dutch Empire, if it's the British Empire, if it's the Roman Empire, it doesn't matter. It's all gone. All gone, right? And the British ruled for 300 years at the barrel of a gun, and then nothing, down to nothing, right? And then America kind of took over, but now the United States is fading. So this is how it goes. It's all cyclical. Nothing lasts forever except for eternity. Right? So anyways, that's what it's really looking beyond the conventional. Remember I talked about, Zen Buddhists might say, what is the sound of one hand clapping? If a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it fall, does it make a sound? Right? So presenting all these conundrums to make you think differently, get out of the box, right? Get out of your own way. Everybody, not everybody, qualified, many, if not most, are consistently just following the crowd, right? You forget theology. If you go to business philosophy, you see a whole bunch of people doing one thing, just do something else. And you go, what? Do what? Doesn't matter. Just do something different, right? So it's in the difference that we really find the substance and the merit and the depth, often finding truth lying there, or truths that just like really slap us around the face and whoa. And once you do find those truths, and I'm not going to teach them to you or preach them to you, you really got to find them on your own, So I'm not a point. Look, there it is. There's one, there's two. You got to find them on your own. That's kind of what this philosophy helps you with, right? Li Zongchang, again, wasn't he there? Didn't we see one of his before? Anyways, when you conceal your will from others, that is thick. When you impose your will on others, that is black. Okay. So thick face, you probably heard of thick face. I must maintain face, right? Kind of similar to that, or it falls in the that falls in the ballpark. So there's thick face, black heart, right? So thick face is the secret law of nature which governs successful behavior in every aspect. My American pioneer had it, Asian businessman, so forth. Thick face, black heart is the wisdom of the soul, and it knows no division or nationality, race, or religion. The implementation of this law benefits people in their business practices as well as in their personal lives. By being true to the law of nature in our daily encounters, or sticking to your dharma, or following your intuition, listening to the Spirit, the Holy Ghost, the essence of truth, the core inner knowing, the individual spirit going to the Atma. The Atman, the Atman is the greater spirit in many Eastern philosophies, right? We will fulfill the highest potential within and around us, thus leading us to the proper unfolding of our destiny. There it is, you path seekers, you seekers of treasure, right? So there's the sword shield, thick face, black heart. You've got a thick face. You've got to have a thick face because when you're trying to get stuff done, right? And this is what I've coached. And I find inevitably that as people are trying to follow their own path, there's always the naysayers, the detractors, and the down players, right? So if you know you're following the right path, you have no doubt about it, then you have to do something. If all these people are coming at you all the time, no, 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 and you have to say yes, 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 then you need that shield, right? And I had to develop that shield, as I told you, or if you listen, I was extremely shy, extremely introverted. I just let life beat me about the years, right? And I flipped that 180, and I talked about that, probably talk about that again as we go through this. This is generally what people do. They strengthen themselves or uh, remain a punching bag. And most people I know don't enjoy being a punching bag, right? Some stay there for various reasons. I don't know them all, but there's reasons, almost reasons for everything, it seems. But some people will stay there. Some people will never grow, they'll never prosper, they'll never strengthen themselves, right? But I knew when I was probably, early mid-20s that I can't take this anymore. I got to change, right? So that's what I started to do when I sought my path, right, to success or betterment, self-betterment, really. I don't want to say success. And for me, that's success, right? It was really about overcoming, for me, I don't know, what is your success? And that's something I coach on. I have each person determine what their goals are and what their concept or concepts of success is or are, right? To me, one of the biggest things was just overcoming myself and my own personal self limitations, right? I knew, forget success in any other capacity. If I didn't overcome what was in here, all of the darkness and failure and self doubt and self loathing, if I didn't overcome that, if I didn't purge it, nothing's going to happen. And that took quite some time, because it was pretty deep. It was pretty insidious. It was in there. It was like, a large jungle growth that had grown over some time. And it took a while to hack away at the vines and the weeds and the seeds and whatever else was in there and get it out, And if I hadn't have done that, I'd probably be dead because I had gone through many suicidal phases when I was younger because of the doubt, hopelessness, which people seem to be experiencing now, right? Maybe because of COVID, maybe because of the massive inflation, highest inflation in 40 years. Not a lot of opportunities out there, not like it used to be, especially back like in the 80s and 90s when things were really cooking, especially after World War II, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. A lot of economic growth, Then 2000 came, 2008 came, the subprime market mortgage industry collapse, fiasco, fraud that caused the economy to collapse. We still haven't fully recovered from that. Maybe I'll go into that sometime. That's a very important and interesting issue. Understanding the economy, understanding what money is, what is the stock market, what is banking, what is trade, what is taxation, right? All that stuff. Very important, not only for understanding things on a political basis, locally, state, nation, right? But also for your own financial needs, right? For the individual and the collective at a small, mid, and large level, right? That's what education, I got to talk about that sometime too. That's what education should be about greatly. Okay. So I've rambled on and on about that. I'll be going on other tangents. But anyways, successful life, this is the third paragraph down, is one that is lived through understanding and pursuing one's own path. I need not say anymore. Not chasing after the dreams of fulfilling the expectations of others. Boom. But a lot of people do that. There is a doctor, I think I brought him up before. Dr. Decci wrote a book, and maybe I got to do that sometime too, just lay out all the other books, readings that maybe my 100 books everybody's got to read or something like that. Maybe I'll put that together as well. I've read hundreds, I don't know, thousands. I've lost track. Who knows? At least hundreds, probably 1,000, maybe more. But anyways, Dr. Decci, why we do what we do, speaks to the fact that he's a counselor, he's a teacher, he's a professor, psychologist, and he mentions that there are two types of students: students that comply and do what they want to do because they want to do it, or students who comply and do what they're told to do or what they think they should do, according to what parents are saying or teachers or whomever, right? And he mentions the fact that even if you're not doing it for yourself, you can comply and do pretty well. You can get like a 4.0, you know, you can graduate and get a degree and have good grades. But the problem is eventually that's going to break down. You cannot sustain a negating of the self for a long period of time. The self is too small for perpetual interest. Ooh, there's one for you. That's the Hindu, right? Selfishness, self-desires are like, or selfishness, are like toys along the path of life. A child without the toys, sad. Sadder still is an adult fixated at the same level, right? It's kind of sad that those kids are selfish, but that's the way we are. We begin that way, and we have to overcome the selfishness. You know, we just cry, we want our way. Babies are crying. Why? Because they got poop in their diaper, they're hungry, they're scared, whatever, you know. But if you keep that level of selfishness and self-focus as an adult into your 30s, 40s, and so on and so forth, that has such an amazingly detrimental effect on your livelihood. And I'm not talking about work, but the lively nature of your being. It just pulls you down. There's things you need to do to lift yourself up. And I'm not saying everybody does all the right things all the time. We always do stuff that takes us down at times, but you have to limit those things. And that's what I did. And it's made all the difference in the world. I'm alive now because of that. You can feel it inside. I'm pretty settled. I really don't have any major regrets or demons, I guess we could say, any major darkness, blackness inside me, you know. And that's great. That's healthy. That's good. But people do. You just go online. Go online. Oh, there's a lot of angry, bitter, miserable, nasty people. And I think a lot of them go to politics and just start hating, you know. You have a D after your name, you're evil, or an R. All R's are this, D's are that. You know, that's gross. Come on. That's very base, vile, selfish, infantile, and ignorant. Something like that. If you understand how people are, they're very unique. There's certainly some overlap, but each one of us is unique enough to have a certain stamp on us, like snowflakes. And I don't mean like the melting snowflakes, you know, who can't take certain things socially and otherwise. But I'm talking about the actual snowflakes. Allegedly, each snowflake is different. I don't know. I've never checked them all, but that's what they say. I think people are pretty much like that. There's enough uniqueness in all of us to make us different or help us differentiate one from another in some way, shape, or form, right? So, anyways, many people are so completely obsessed with the pursuit of false euphoria. This is gold. This is gold. That they attempt to deny the existence of life's difficulties. A positive attitude is important, but it is only part of the story. Understanding how to surmount pain, doubt, and failure is a vital component in winning the game of life. So often we are so concerned with what makes us feel good that we forget what makes us great. And you will grow and prosper and limit demons and overcome shortcomings and weaknesses faster with one difficult challenge or encounter with difficulty and challenge. And by overcoming that, you will grow faster, but just through that one encounter than all the good times you'll have in your life. All the trips to Disneyland and theme parks and happiness and bars and drinking and picnics and blah, 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 right? Because when you overcome stuff, that's what pulls the demons out. You become more thoughtful, you become kinder, you become more patient, you become more loving, you become less selfish. All of the negatives, get that garbage out, get that garbage out, get it out, get it out, get it out. I'm not saying you're going to be able to get it all out or have it all out all the time. You know, nobody's perfect, but you want a majority of that darkness and whatever else is in there, whatever else it's based on. I don't know. People are different, as I said, right? Character. Oh, here's another one. Take this and tattoo it on yourself somewhere. Character is not made of sunshine and roses. Like steel, it is forged in fire. Between the hammer and the anvil, by getting in touch with the power of thick-faced black heart, you will realize a new consciousness. You know, and I'm reading this stuff, I'm going, holy shit. Damn, son. You know, just the first few pages, right? I'm going, man, that hits home. Facts. I was just floored. And putting it in real, you know, in your face, right there, can't miss it, don't doubt it, says it all, words, phrases, paragraphs. Right? This is what I've been looking for. The love of my life in a book. One of the results of reading this book will be the shattering of your traditional concepts of ruthlessness. Thick-faced black heart is and is not about ruthlessness. You will learn that by adapting and adopting a form of non-destructive ruthlessness, you will gain the freedom necessary to achieve effective execution of your life's tasks. Oh, yeah, baby. Mm-hmm. Yes. Thick-faced black heart is not about mastering a specific skill, nor is it something I can give to you. The power of thick-face, I'm getting chills. I don't know how many times I've read this or taught it or gone through it, but if something gives you chills like that, again and again and again, this is bold ass truth coming down upon you. Full bore, like a slammer punch to the gut, massive punch to the gut, throat punch, belly punch, legs whipped out from out you. This thing is just taking you down on 3 levels. Feel it? It's good stuff, man. It's already within you. It is your inner strength, the natural state of your true self. Be true to yourself. Be honest. Start with yourself. That is the key. That is the linchpin, the cornerstone. Bingo, Bob, Cindy, Susie. Where perfect joy, clarity, courage, and compassion are an inseparable part of you. I feel drunk on hope and wisdom. Yes, I do. By tapping into this power to whatever degree you can, you cannot fail to benefit. Power of thick-faced black heart will guide you to be effective in your actions and lead you to your desired results, and so forth and so on, right? So now it goes into definitions, and this is something that you do whenever you're trying to communicate something to yourself or to others. You do this in books, you do this in essays, you do this in speeches, you do this in analysis, self-analysis. You have to define things. Who am I? I am basically, by nature, an open-ended, abstract, creative, problem-solving thinker who can readily solve the problems of the greater good or the greater majority, while ignoring or having a difficult time solving the problems of those intimate to me. Give me your 1-minute elevator speech. In business, like if you're an entrepreneur, you're supposed to have a 1-minute elevator speech. Like if you run into somebody, oh, I know this guy. I'd love for him to be a mentor, or he's got money. Maybe I could get him to loan me some money. A Shark Tank. You know, like when they go to Shark Tank, right? And they stand before these people with lots of money and they're trying to get money. Have your little sales speech ready to go. Who are you? Do you know? Right? Do you know your personality type? Do you know your learning style? You know, what do you know about you? And if you don't know about you, can't define you, then how can you match you to anything? Never mind a career, right? Or anything else. Chosen path. And then there's an example. So this is how we develop, right? We've got the inward state. We've got the definition or the relatively abstract statement there, right? It's I guess you could call it a premise or thesis, right? That's the relatively abstract statement, and that's how you do it. And it's here, it's at the beginning, it's the beginning of the section, this section. So that's not unusual. You know, you'll have probably a thesis at the beginning, or this might be just introductory or a thesis here. And then each section is going to have its own thesis or thesi or premise if it's argumentative, right? So what was I saying? Take an example, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get it, as I said, I'm going to try to cut down on the amount of stuff we're reading. So I want to get to this chapter. I know this chapter is long. Some of the other chapters very long, so I really don't want to belabor the point. Let's just get to the point, or the points, the essential points in the text. Thick-faced black heart is a theory of great practical use. It can be applied to any endeavor and utilized for either good or evil. So it's neutral, right? It's not necessarily good. It's not necessarily bad. It's just a tool, right? Like a gun. A gun can be used to protect you from bad people, or you can be the bad person and kill people for no reason other than to gain financially or something like that. Right? The first superficial exposure to thick-faced black heart is often shocking and repellent because it can serve the criminal as easily as the saint. True. It seems to be a selfish, ruthless, and completely amoral, like asexual. You know, remember the worms biology? Not male or female. It's amoral. It's not moral. It's not immoral, and it's not moral. It's neutral. Neutral. However, I contend that these do not necessarily have to be destructive attributes. Very true. And the way that you make them not destructive attributes is you build up yourself. You understand yourself. You understand what is good. Go to the light. I keep talking about that. Be a good Boy Scout or Girl Scout, right? Go to the light. Do the right things. I mean, come on. Seriously? Do you want to be a person or hang around with people or be a person or know anyone, be associated with anyone who is a liar, a backstabber, a cheater, a thief? You know, come on. So then try to limit those things from who you are, right? There it is. Consider that if you skip down to the shield, right? The Asian concept of face, right? In attempting, second paragraph, in attempting any goal, there is always room for doubt about our ability to achieve, our motive for achieving, and our worthiness to receive the benefits of achievement. Often we feel a need to first improve ourselves, and that only after we have become more worthy will we be able to achieve the fulfillment of our dreams. The thick-faced person has the ability to put self-doubt aside. There you go. And that's something that I really, really, really began to develop. I had all self-doubt. I was all self-doubt all the time. That was my credo, right? And I think that's why I was greatly depressed most of the time, suicidal, didn't want to live. And then I reversed that, or I did a 180, right? And the doubt almost all gone. I mean, sometimes I got a little doubt here and there, but predominantly, yeah, I'm pretty doubt-free. You know, people go, that can't be right. No, you must doubt it sometimes. No, I've worked at it. Believe me, I've worked at it very, very, very hard, very long, very diligently, right? And there's things that you can do, right? He refuses, so she does it too, right? And she mentions at the beginning of the book that she'll be using the male pronouns, even though it's a woman that wrote this, right? So again, I apologize. This is just like, it's endless. Even the women are doing it, right? Endless male pronouns. But anyways, people refuse, right? To accept the limitations that others have tried to impose on them, and more importantly, does not accept any of the limitations that we commonly impose on others, on ourselves. So that's the sword shield. You want to get something done, you put the shield up, you say and do and think and feel whatever you need to. And again, you're going to temper it. You're not necessarily going to do anything that is illegal or abusive. You know, probably want to have some sensitivity, you know, to who you are, your being. But at the same time, you're going to get stuff done, damn it, right? You're going to get stuff done. And if you have to take some backlash from friends, family, whomever, so be it. Yeah, speak to the shield. Bounces off and you go forward, right? And then the sword, or they say spear. I like sword better analogy. I can see myself better with a sword than a spear. So the sword is a little more usable, right? The sword is you moving forward, saying, doing, thinking, feeling, whatever you need to do to get it done. So the crap that's coming in, bouncing off your shield, while at the same time you're saying, doing, thinking, feeling, performing upon your environment, doing what you need to do, know you need to do in order to get it done. Get her done. Get her done, Skater, Snyder. What else we got? Thick-faced person has the ability to put aside self-doubt. He refuses to accept limitation. He does not accept any of the limitations that we commonly impose on ourselves. He does not question his ability or worthiness. In his own eyes, he is perfect. And there's an analogy. There's an analogy in here somewhere of the pancake. I think it's this book. It's got to be this book. And the master is making pancakes for his followers, right? His underlings, his students. And every time he flips out a pancake, perfect. But they're all different. They're all like snowflakes, all different. Perfect. Perfect, he keeps saying. And their students are going, how can they be perfect if they're all different? Because they are what they need to be individually. Yeah, that kind of thing, right? The world has a tendency to accept our own judgment of ourselves. So if you project to people, and this is what I had to learn doing stand-up comedy and also being in front of people. Anytime, and I forgot who it was, but there was a guy that wrote a book a long time ago. He was in Superman, black comic. He died. I think he had MS or something. Can't think of his name. But he was he talked about the fact that if you go up on stage and if you show an ounce, small tiny bit of intimidation, the crowd will eat you up. So you constantly have to be, talk about leadership skills. You constantly have to be on. Nothing can affect you, right? If you don't mind the profane and the nasty, I don't know if you could get through the whole thing. But one guy I used to work with, Bill Burr, there's the Philadelphia incident. This guy is a beast, you know. And it's funny because when I first started working with him, he told me that the reason why he had, when he started out, massively changed as he progressed. But he always had like joke, punchline. Because he said, I guess, I don't know exactly why. Because he said that way I can handle the hecklers, you know. But if you watch that Philadelphia, when he's in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia experiment or the Philadelphia incident, where the crowd is turning on all the comics, and most of them are just walking off. He just stayed out there, just kept going. I got 10 minutes, I got 11, I got 8 minutes, I got 7 minutes, 3 minutes to go, and I'm going to give you all my time. That's confidence. Now, to develop that idea, what does she do? Well, she uses examples. Here we got Reagan, and we've got Carter, and we've got Colonel Oliver North, right? So she's using examples. Here's another example, hands in, right? This is a story about a young man, Chinese, reputation as a skilled kung fu fighter, right? And a couple of punks come up to him and they say to him, either fight us or crawl between our legs. What does he do? You think he's a skilled kung fu fighter? He's going to take them on, beat them both up. He crawled through their legs, right? Many years later, he becomes the biggest, baddest fighter, soldier, commander, general, the top guy. You know, he's legendary. And then somebody sees him and goes, oh my gosh, aren't you the same kid who was in the street like 20 years ago? And a couple of punks walked up to you and they said, crawl between our legs or fight. And you crawl. Why'd you do that? I mean, your reputation precedes you. You're known as probably the greatest warrior ever, you know, in our country's history. So why'd you do that? He goes, because it didn't serve the proper purpose. This is like chills, right? He says it would just be serving me, and I'm not to be served. I'm about serving my family first, my country, and then my God. There you go. That just blew me away. So that's kind of the story there. Anyways, Blackheart, there's the spear. So the shield, right, and the spear. Blackheart's ability to take action without regard to how the consequence will affect others. So that's moving forward with the shield, right? Two sides of the same coin. Thick-faced black heart are two sides of the same coin. When one possesses the strength of thick face, one can ignore the criticisms and disapproval of the masses. There you go. And it's not easy to do. You may see some people, there's all these, not all, but there's a lot of people now, many people, doing these pranks. You see them on YouTube. And many people in the comments go, this guy has more guts, or gets more done, or has said more to more people than I've said in all my life. In just like one short video, right? So you think, how do these people, I don't know how they do it. Maybe it's more innate or natural to them. Most people don't have that natural innate capacity or ability. That's why a lot of people just marvel, you know. But the bottom line is they get it done, right? So do you need to be like that? I don't know. I don't think so. But at some point in your life, you're going to have to encounter a situation, a person, several people, maybe a group, maybe a small, medium, large size group. And you're going to have to say something and do something and take a stand. And this is where this comes into play. And you can use this in small capacity, medium size, as I just said, or large capacity. It's got great applications. So now you got all these different phases of thick-faced black heart. I'm not really teaching it. I'm really just trying to give you an overview of what it's about. So winning at all costs. There's the 3 stages of phase 1, and you can really get into this if you want to. You know, how far do you want to take it? I don't know if there's anybody out there that coaches this or can help you with this specifically. I coach people on something similar, but this specific technique I don't really use or fully understand, right? Self-inquiry, there it is. Conquering others requires force. Conquering oneself requires strength, right? So that's the part of it. Remember, we said it's a neutral tool. You can use it for bad or good. This is for the people who want to use it for good, because you're constantly, you know, did I do the right thing when I said that? You take time off, you know, to reflect later in the day, at night, particularly. Did you know, was I too harsh? Was I not harsh enough? What did I say? What did I do? Well, I think I got to change in this way. So that's what self-inquiry is. Warrior, phase 3, fit for greatness, right? This is also a great quote here. I've seen many people grow old, but not graciously. Their eyes reflect pain and disillusionment. They have been beaten by life. They have so many broken dreams. The hope and expectations of youth have vanished. Only death awaits. Now, this is where most people are going to end up, right? Napoleon Hill and many other people in the realm or fields of achievement have said that 90 to 95% of people will live unfulfilling lives, right? So is this how it's all going to end, right? So look at what she says here. This is why this stuff is critical, essential. It's not just, oh, this is cute. This is nice to know. You know, everything you learn about life, you learned in kindergarten or whatever that book is about, right? You know, oh, that's cute. You know, it's cute. You know, this is not cute. This has to do with the basic core elements existence of life, right? The core, the deeper hardcore elements of life, right? The mistake they made was in not preparing themselves for the harsh lessons their creator, again, if you don't believe in a creator, take that out. Just say universe. The universe gave to him, her, right? Give it a neutral tone, however you want to do it, who cares? Set for them on their life's path necessary lessons to strengthen their spirit and make them fit for greatness. Unlike the warrior who accepts harsh discipline as a privilege and honor, these people are like pieces of grain caught in the millstone, ground down by the wheel of life in agony and pain. Damn. Harsh, right? This is the thing I like about this is not one of those wimpy, wambly-pambly type of self-help books, you know. You know, be nice to everybody, say hi, and always have a smile. And, you know, if you can, you know, give them hugs. Give them hugs and a smile and make them some cookies, you know, and dance around a little bit and giggle and shake. Ha, 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 ha. Happy, happy, happy. Joy, joy, joy. Yeah, that's how it's done. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's fake. What is that? Right? We want something that's real, right? And this is real. This is pretty heavy, right? And if it's heavy, that means it's got some merit or some substance to it, right? The union of the spiritual and material world. Sure, we can do that. Thick face, black art practitioner. Here's Lao Tzu, Toti Ching. When the great two is forgotten, virtue and morality arises. When knowledge and intelligence are born, the great pretense begins. When there is no harmony within the family, filial piety and devotion arise. When the country is confused and in chaos, loyal officials appear, right? So I don't think that's two. I think that's Tao, T-A-O. Or maybe it is, because it's Tu Ti Ching. I don't know. Don't know, not to be honest, right? So when in dire circumstances, something of dire strength and light comes into existence, right? A friend of mine, right? So now she's using examples or exemplification. Christian Holy Bible she uses, right? There's a summary key points. So that's basically it. There you go. Jack London, good book. Fang, what was that book? The proper function of man is to live, not to exist. Bingo. All right, so, we're going to work through this. That's a chapter. Oops. That's a chapter that needs to be gone over. So I will be going through chapter 2, Dharma 3 and 4, at least 3. Dharma is the foundation, the fundamental element or aspect of, got to have it. It's like if you don't have Dharma, you don't have the foundation and the house falls. Thick face, black heart falls without Dharma, right? And then it just goes from there. So I think the first 4 chapters are really foundational, fundamental learning of the terms, thick face, black heart, and a preparing, and then also the underlying foundational element of thick face, black heart, the sword and the shield, which is Dharma, which is really kind of like following your minute by minute, second by second, hour by hour, day by day needs, right? And really your intuition, right? Understanding yourself, building that intuition. So endurance and some other things, so I'll go through some of these. There's several that I've skipped, but anyways, I'll skip. But anyways, that's it. That's a good start. That's what we needed. Oops, go back there. So anyways, that's it. We'll talk soon. Video 2 forthcoming, and talk to you later.